My name is Root66 and welcome to the studio here, and today we are going to look at the Arturia Minifreak. So the Minifreak is actually a bigger version of the Microfreak. It's the same synthesizer engine, only everything is pretty much everything is double. It has the Microfreak was cute, nice. But had one of everything. It had one oscillator, it had one filter, it had one LFO, it had everything one. And this has pretty much all that stuff double. It has two oscillators, it has two LFOs, it has analog filters and digital filters. It has an effect section, which the Microfreak also did not have. Let's see what else. The main difference, of course, is that this is truly a polyphonic synthesizer. The Microfreak was a monosynth that had a paraphonic mode, but you could send several notes through the same filter and envelope, which is of course not real polyphonic. This is a true 6-voice polyphonic synthesizer, or it has a mode where it's 12-voice paraphonic, where you use only one oscillator per voice rather than two. So there is some overlap there, but that's actually the main difference. This is a real polysynth. It is digital. It has the same, as I said, same synth engine as the Microfreak, which has a lot of different types of synthesis. But it's all shamelessly digital, and actually I like that about this thing. I have enough analog synths. These days I'm actually more interested in digital synths because they can expand your sound horizon, blah blah blah. And I find a lot of analog synths are more of the same, and that can be very interesting. But I was actually surprised how broad the spectrum of this thing is, especially, and that's because of those two oscillators. You have all these different types of synthesis, and if you can combine them as well, then you get, I'm not going to say an infinite possibility, but close. Close, actually. I'll play you some sounds later on. It also has the modulation matrix here is also bigger than the one in the Microfreak. And one of the main differences is also the back panel, where it does have normal MIDI in, out, and through via DIN plugs. The Microfreak had those little mini jacks. And I hate those things, and especially because the ones that Arturia uses don't mix together with, for instance, what Korg uses. It's the same system, but the pinouts are different. And MIDI is from what is it, 82 or 83, 84, something like that. I mean, it's almost 40 years old, and here we are back again to like 1980 or 81, right before MIDI, when everybody had their own system and there were no standards, and that was the whole reason that MIDI was invented. And now come on, set a standard and stick to it, and not all this, I interpret it this way and I interpret it this way. I mean, anyway, but this synthesizer doesn't have that anymore. The other thing it has normal outputs, actually these are stereo outputs, but I think that's mainly because of the effects, because the synth itself is mono. And the Microfreak had that as well, but this also has a normal audio input. It's the normal standard jack audio input. And with the Microfreak, the audio input was on the headphone output. The headphone output was a TRRS jack, and one of those R's, one of the rings on the tip ring sleeve plug was actually was an audio input, and they used that for the vocoder, and nobody knew that was even on there until they released that vocoder update, and you could buy a little microphone. It worked with the microphone that you could plug in there, but I tried using that vocoder. in remixes where the vocals were already recorded in the Cubase, and normally you send it from your mixer, you send it into your vocoder and then back, and it's no problem, it just works. And for some reason I could not get this thing. I used all kinds of plugs and converters on top of converters, and for some reason the audio almost never reached that specific ring of that the input was. It's unreal what a pain in the ass that is to use that. And of course this has the nice audio input, but this doesn't have a vocoder. It's exactly the same as the Microfreak, except it does not have a vocoder and it does not have the wavetable synth. The wavetable synth is also gone. I don't know if Arturia are going to release some kind of update where they are still or they are going to release those two. I don't know, or maybe they will be exclusive for the Microfreak. I don't know, but for now it doesn't have that, but the input is there. So anyway, it also has a normal keyboard. I love that keyboard on the Microfreak, that little touch plate thing. But yeah, I'm not a keyboard player. So these are just little mini keys. They are velocity sensitive. They also have aftertouch, and yeah, that's okay. I can deal with them, but I think if you are a real keyboard player, you're not going to play this either. So I don't think that's the target group for this is not made for pianists. Let's put it that way. And if you are a pianist, then you have some kind of master keyboard with weighted keys and blah blah, and then you use that, and you certainly would not use these keys. It has also there's a pitch and modulation wheel. It's not a wheel, it's a touch strip, but the Microfreak didn't have that at all. So everything is a little bigger. It has effects too, by the way. I really don't use effects on synthesizers usually. I just use my studio effects. But it's nice that it has that. And for the rest, the arpeggiator and the sequencer, all that stuff is all more or less the same as the Microfreak. And I think that's pretty much those are pretty much the differences. More. That's sort of the story. Is it interesting? Is it worth buying? I think so, because it's actually a very nice synth. And what I like about it is I've had this since early December, I think. This was one of the first ones. I also reviewed it for a magazine here in Holland. The nice thing about this is that because of those two synthesis in oscillator 1 and 2, or you can use oscillator 2 as digital filters, there is such an amount of different sounds that you can get out of this thing. And because you can combine those oscillators, there are so many crazy things that you can do. And a lot of this stuff is especially if you start using the LFOs. The LFOs sync to a MIDI clock. There's all kinds of little things that will help you with. For instance, you can quantize. There's pitch modulation, but you can quantize the pitch modulation, so you actually get whole notes, and it's not just random garbage. Or if you use a sine note as your modulation, you get a siren. This is actually usable on. I don't have any other synth that does that, and there are a whole bunch of tricks like that inside this thing. And I don't know if we have time to go through all that stuff, but that's what I like about this synthesizer. They thought about lots of little things, lots of little handy things. I also like the sequencer, the arpeggiator with those sort of semi-random functions that make little variations on what you do, and it just gives you a lot of extras compared to a lot of other synths. I was very impressed with it, and for instance, one of the things I also noticed on this thing is the Minifreak. You could get a lot of sounds like cool bass sounds and like a little bit of pad sounds and all kinds of craziness. What it was really bad at, or I thought anyway, was string sounds. And if any string sound that thing made always sounded like a cheap organ, and really digital, but also not usable, not nice, not. And for some reason, this thing, like the sound I played in the beginning of this video. That's just a really nice string sound. I have I don't know. I have a whole bunch of things I'm looking at right now. For instance, the Korg Wave State. It does gorgeous. That's what it's made for. It's made as an ambient machine. And for me, that sound that was just at the intro. Yeah, it's sort of the same. It's in the same league. It's really nice. And of course, then you can arpeggiate it and you can modulate it and you do all kinds of crazy stuff with it. And that's what I like about this thing. And one of the few things that I actually miss about this synthesizer, what I really miss, and I really hope that they will implement that in some way, is I really miss a randomizer. The Wave State is just one of the latest examples, but the Polybrute also had a really nice randomizer. One of the things I love to do with synths is just sort of randomize sounds and just let the thing come up with something itself. And 99% of the time it is absolutely random garbage, and you can't do anything with it. But I've gotten some of my best and coolest sounds from randomizers, and especially these days you can get randomizers. I remember the Polybrute, you could set all kinds of, and also the Wave State has that same. You can set which parts you want to randomize and by how much, and something like the Minifreak it's made for something like that. So please, Arturia, make some kind of randomizer for that thing. Anyway, so let's see what kind of sounds we can. I will play you a few sounds, and then I'll show you some of the cool features that this thing can do. Turn that arpeggiator. Turn that arpeggiator off. This is that string sound from earlier. Oh, this is nice. This is a nice sound. You want to know my main problem with this synthesizer that drives me absolutely nuts? You could just see it. Any other synthesizer I have, you turn the knob, you select the sound will be there. This thing, you turn the knob, you select the sound. Is the sound there? No, the old sound is still there. You have to push the button in to actually load the sound. This was a feature on the Microfreak as well, but there you could turn it on and off. As a matter of fact, it was off by default. And I don't understand why. Why would you do that? The only thing I can think of is if you're playing like a live set and you accidentally hit the switch and you select a different sound. But for the rest, I mean, it makes going through, there's 500 presets in here, and actually most of these slots are empty, but it will hold over 500 sounds. And if you have to go through 500 sounds going turn, click, turn, click, turn, click, turn, click, it is a huge pain in the ass. It is, I can't imagine why. Who made that decision? Answer for yourself, because it is insane. So please make a setting in that menu that you can turn that off and that you can just, because it drives me nuts, and I've heard the same complaint from other people. And yeah, like I don't see any reason why you should do that. And yeah, so okay, yeah, because see, now I get the same sound again, and then I have to go to the one I want to play and then hit it, and then so this does these kind of nice noisy arpeggios. Click. I like the sound, very subtle, very nice. Especially with that little noise in the background. That's part of the sound. Very, very cool. It also does a lot of this kind of stuff. The one that I've been using mostly is, let me play this for you. I hope this goes to the end without. So simple, but super nice. And it also does a lot of this kind of stuff, just nice bass sounds. It has that super cool arpeggiator, and yeah, I've used this already in a few tracks and remixes that I'm working on. And it's just stop. Yeah, so there's a lot of things you can do with this machine. Let's see, what I wanted to show you, what actually one of the cooler features of this thing is. Let's go to okay, here we have a simple initialized patch, just one, and I'll show you some of the things that you can do with that with the matrix, with the modulation. I remember from the Matrix Brute, it's one of those things that a lot of people ask about and are not quite sure on how it works and what it does, and so. What you do with this is actually very simple. Here are the sources, here are the destinations. And one of the fun parts that you can do with this, as well as with the Matrix Brute, is you can set your own destinations. And so, for instance, here's what we'll do. Let's take, okay, here, this line is LFO1. And now we take LFO1 and we send LFO1 to the wave parameter. And what that will do is this selects the synthesis type, and then wave will select what kind of wave you will use within that. So basically what it will do is it will scan through waveforms. So, you know, that's an interesting parameter to modulate. Yeah, you can modulate your filter and you can modulate, you know, blah blah. We know how all that works. But this thing will lead itself to do things different. It can go a little further than crazy stuff. So this is our normal sound, and now we've selected that, and then by pushing that matrix knob, we can give it a value. And as you can hear, let's put it at 100%. And what you hear now is the LFO modulating that parameter. So that's LFO 1. And see, if we now take LFO 1. And now this in itself is also, it's fun. And see here you can select different waveforms. Actually, you can even draw your own waveform. Okay, so that's fun. And what we'll do now is you take that same LFO1 and then you make a new modulation destination, and now we will go to the one that we can assign ourselves. There's 3 slots here that you can assign any parameter to be modulated by the LFOs or the envelopes or whatever. So that's actually cool, because nobody synths do that. Usually you have a few pre-selected destinations, and that's it. And this will it'll let you do anything. You can modulate. It can modulate itself. So let's do this now. We select this, and then what we do is you push the light is actually a switch, and then let's do type, and then here you can see it'll set type as a modulation destination. And what that will do, give this a little bit more of a lower sound. What that will do is it'll cycle through the different forms of synthesis, as you can hear now, and at the same time it will cycle through the waveforms of those synthesis forms that it has selected. I mean, you just have to so let's give this also a little, and then if you speed up that waveform, you can get actually really interesting Now this is all still a little sort of half random, but these are now set to 100%. So this is all maximum. Let's put it on hold. This is all maximum amount, just so that it'll show you what it does. But you can of course tune that down so that it just cycles in ways that you want. And for instance, fun things that you can do is you take LFO2, and with LFO2 you can use those exact same modulation destinations, only then you make them negative. see, here's LFO2, and as you can see, I don't know if you could see it or not, LFO2 does not go in speeds. LFO2 goes in quarter, 8, 16. LFO2 is synced to the tempo. And you can see that because this little light here is on. And so you can hear these changes are linked to the tempo of the sequencer. As you can hear, it's going nuts. If you now start doing the same thing with the types that we've used before, and do the same trick again. Let's see, where are we? I missed it for some reason. Here. Yeah. And see what this currently does is it basically creates sort of garbage. But if you slow those LFOs down a little bit, you can get super interesting and this is also where you can play with other things. I don't know, it's now using the types and the waves they're not set, so they start at the beginning, but you can let them start from other start points. So see, with every type of synthesis that you move up, it starts from a totally different, you can actually get a totally different sound. And then of course you can take this, and this is not even using the sequencer. This is just using its internal modulation system. So you still have a sequencer and an arpeggiator to play this. So let's do the arpeggiator. Tell me a synthesizer that will do this. I mean, come on. And then, of course, with these, you still have, you can set parameters. I don't think these are not programmed yet here, but what you do have is the sort of semi-randomizers for the sequencer and the arpeggiator. and you have what the spice does is it makes variations. It makes variations in not even, I don't even think it's really much in tone, but in note length and all those kind of little, how many notes per sequence, and it fills in, and it makes interesting things. And you can, by setting it high, or you can set it lower, then it's a little bit, you can see here the, I don't know, is that a pepper or something? And you can see the pepper filling up. It's actually, I like those little animations. They did that very well. And these are the gate lengths. And yeah, okay, you can hear that. Let's keep them short. But actually, if you open the release here, then it'll do that too. So anyway, this is just a little demonstration of this is like 1% of what this thing can do, and this is just a very simple a little demo that you knock up in 5 minutes. Actually, another thing you can do that's kind of interesting is let's go to Oscillator 2. I'll show you those. Here's the phase filter. And I'm not quite sure if it will do that, if it will also do that now, because technically all you're doing, you've modulated is oscillator 1. So let's see. If you go to the second one and do that. Oh yeah, see, now you can also hear it. You can hear the phase going as well. So, I mean, how cool is that? I mean, you know, that's it's a super cool synth. It's one of those synths where you can generally with most synths I can generally sort of know what the outcome is going to be if I start playing with a certain sound, or you know your machines, and after a while even the craziest machines, you sort of know what they will do. Like I have a Microwave XT here, you know, super nice machine, but you kind of know how to make certain sounds and what it can do. And recently I've had two synths. The wave state is one of them, although with the wave state, no, that's not really true. The wave state can also do really crazy stuff. Nobody does it. You can buy all those synth, those packs for it, and everybody only makes ambient sounds for it, and it's boring as hell. You can make that thing, it can be such an atonal, crazy, but maybe I'll do a video about that thing too one of these days. But this is also one of those synthesizers where once you start playing with stuff, the Matrix Brute has it a little bit, but the Matrix Brute is analog, so it only uses a few waveforms, and then it's sort of the same thing. They're all variations on a I'm not going to say limited, but yeah, limited compared to what's in this thing, a limited sound palette. This thing, the sound palette of this is like unlimited. The craziest stuff comes up, and sometimes when you totally don't expect it, or totally not where you you start out making, you think I want some kind of little floating thing, and you end up with some kind of totally crazy machine, and I like that. At the same time, I have a Korg Monopoly up there, and it's sort of the analog equivalent of that. And the problem I always had with that thing is you can spend hours, days cross-modulating weird crap in the arpeggiator, but sometimes you also have to have tracks finished, and that's always the danger with these kind of synths, is before you know it, another day has gone by and you have 100 patches full of all kinds of crazy shit that you're never going to use because it doesn't fit in any normal music, but you've had fun. And to me that's what this thing is about. It can do a lot of sounds, it can do a lot of totally crazy stuff, and yeah, like I said, the only thing that they have to change is that stupid sound select parameter. I mean, come on. The other nice thing with this is if you buy the hardware synth, you also get a plug-in version. It's free with the synth. It took me a while to get it going because I still use a very old version of Cubase that's 32 bits. But eventually, with the converter, I got it working on, because it's a 64-bit plugin. But I got it working, and it's great. It's actually nice. You actually have two synths, and actually on that plugin version, it's sort of like Pigments that you can see. You can see all the modulations and the waveform. You can see a lot better what's going on in the sound than here. Although this is okay, but yeah, you could see all this crap that's going on here now. You could see that. So that makes it an even better deal. Hey, I think it's great. It's a great machine. I really can't tell any other machine. I mean, yeah, something like a Hydrasynth would be sort of close in possibilities, only in a different way. I think Hydrasynth is a lot more polished in sound than this thing, just like the Wave State is. The Wave State is beautiful, high. This has a certain sort of lo-fi element in it as well. Arturias always have strange things and sounds, and everything is just a little different. And yeah, that's I do like that about it, because it makes it an interesting machine if you already have a ton of other stuff. And I think for what it can do, I think it's great. It's a great machine. So as far as I'm concerned, buy it. I always say that about every synth. Buy it. There's always something cool you can do with something like this, no matter what it is or what you do. Anyway, I'll play a few more patches, and hopefully, I keep saying every time that we're going to do more synth reviews, but it's simply a matter of time. It's just time is an issue, and I have a better setup now. I hope you can see it, the quality of these videos. So that's all okay now, but. Yeah, it just takes a lot of time to make these things and prepare these things, and yeah, I like doing it, but yeah, there's other stuff that needs to be done. Tracks need to be finished. I have remixes to make. I do mastering. You know all that stuff. So I sort of do these in my own time, and they're fun to do. But so I hope soon there will be more, and. I'll leave you with some sounds from the Minifreak, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.